Nobody would have expected Radamel Falcao's loudest roar to come not from a sold-out stadium, but from the quiet of a home in Bogotá. There was no decisive goal, no serious injury. It was a conscious decision. A moment when his life reoriented itself, away from the constant pressure of football, towards a place where peace, family, and faith set the rhythm. But before we enter this sanctuary, we must understand how Falcao achieved the financial freedom that made this choice possible in the first place. It all started quietly, almost unremarkably. At 13, Falcao received his first professional salary with Lanceros Boyacá, around 5,000 US dollars a year, an amount without glamour, without security. But precisely here, something crucial was formed. Not talent alone, but the ability to contextualize every step and skip nothing. Even then, he understood that a career isn't built by speed, but by control. The move to River Plate between 2005 and 2009 was the first real test. 45 goals in 4 years, an annual salary of about 500,000 US dollars. For many, that would have already been a goal. For him, it was just a stage. Europe began to take notice, not because of a single moment, but because of his consistency. Falcao didn't just appear, he established himself. In Porto, the story gained momentum. Between 2009 and 2011, his numbers exploded. 34 goals in the first season, 38 in the second. His salary rose to around 2 million US dollars per year. Titles followed, as did the award for Portuguese Footballer of the Year, 2011. Here, it became definitively clear that his game was based on planning. Every movement had meaning. Every step was prepared. The next chapter led to Madrid. From 2011 to 2013, he reached a new dimension. 70 goals in 2 seasons, an annual salary of about 5 million US dollars, and the status of one of the most dangerous strikers in the world. But even at his peak, his approach to money remained sober. The big contract with AS Monaco, estimated at 14 million US dollars per season, was not a break from his line, but the logical consequence of years of discipline. Even injuries didn't change that. Contracts remained stable, complemented by selected endorsement partnerships that brought him around 6 million US dollars over the years. With the national team, the financial effect was smaller, but the brand value grew enormously. Today, his fortune is estimated at about 70 million US dollars. Not as a sign of excess, but as the result of a player who treated money like the ball, calmly, precisely, and without unnecessary risk. After many years in Europe's pulsating football metropolises, Radamel Falcao made a decision that defied expectations. Not Madrid, not Monaco, but Bogotá. This choice did not stem from nostalgia, but from the desire to reorder his own rhythm of life. Once his career had provided him with financial security, the focus was no longer on pace, but on balance. The villa where Falcao lives today is estimated to be worth around 4 million US dollars, but it is not a symbol of ostentation. The house is shielded from the city noise, surrounded by greenery, and follows an inward-looking architectural concept. Instead of opening outwards, the design directs life to the center of the house, where privacy and tranquility are prioritized. Every room serves a clear purpose: to slow down the pace. Following extensive renovation in 2019, the living space was reharmonized to a high standard without appearing cluttered. The style subtly combines Irish influences with Colombian character, conveying stability, warmth, and order. With nearly 900 square meters of living space on a generous plot, the house offers room to breathe without ever seeming oversized. Here, wealth does not serve to impress, but to protect daily family life. This house tells no story of success, but of decisions. Of the decision to leave the noise behind to preserve what is essential. And precisely within this protected space, another chapter in Falcao's life begins to unfold. Inside the villa, the same philosophy continues. 5 bedrooms are not display areas, but sanctuaries. Muted colors, natural materials, and a palpable silence characterize every room. Nothing seems accidental. Nothing distracts. The 9 bathrooms are functional and clearly designed. They support daily life without dominating it. Everything follows a principle of order and tranquility. The daily routine is organized around spaces that reflect discipline and balance. The study is for concentration, structure, and planning. But the heart of the house is the private gym. Here, Falcao trains daily, without an audience, without appointments, just with his own body and his own rhythm. It's the place where his professional attitude lives on, even far from the official game schedule. When the pace slows down, the atmosphere changes. The cinema room becomes the family's focal point. No cameras, no headlines, just shared time. Movies, conversations, moments that don't need to be captured. The house allows both, discipline and letting go, tension and relaxation. That is precisely where its balance lies. These rooms tell no story of luxury, but of control over one's daily life, of the ability to clearly separate performance and private life. And yet the narrative doesn't end within these walls, because this quiet logic continues even outside. Even with his cars, Falcao doesn't follow a logic of ostentation. Each vehicle fulfills a clear function, tailored to different moments of his daily life. For family trips, a Range Rover is ready, solid, quiet, protective. From the outside, it conveys strength, but its true value lies in the interior, where space, silence, and security dominate. It's the car for days when the role of father is more important than that of professional athlete. The Volvo XC90 takes on a different task. It's the vehicle for routine, for unspectacular processes. Training, driving home, short trips without staging. No special moment getting in, no ritual starting it. That's precisely where its significance lies. It stands for normalcy, for a life that doesn't constantly demand attention. And then there are moments when the inner competitive spirit finds room again. In these moments, the Porsche Panamera takes center stage. Low-slung, precise, with immediate reaction to every movement. Here, it's not about luxury, but about control. About reading situations, assessing timing, reacting quickly. Qualities that defined his career and are reflected here as well. Together, these vehicles don't make a statement about wealth, but rather represent a functional balance. Each car appears when life demands it. Nothing more, nothing less. Here too, Falcao reduces noise to preserve meaning. For Falcao, money always had a purpose beyond football. A portion of his earnings consistently flowed back to Colombia, not as a public gesture, but as concrete aid. In 2013, he supported social programs in his home country with a donation of $100,000. The money was earmarked for projects focused on children, health, and particularly vulnerable communities. Not a grand statement, but a targeted decision. 2 years later, an even more direct act followed. In 2015, Falcao covered the entire cost of a heart transplant for a young Colombian. Approximately $280,000 covered the operation, hospital stay, and medical follow-up. This support saved a life that would have had no chance without this help. Here too, everything remained quiet, without staging, without public self-promotion. Furthermore, he regularly makes annual private donations to children's hospitals and educational programs in Colombia. Approximately $40,000 per year go towards basic medical equipment, pediatric treatments, and educational support. He also contributes financially to charity events, where a total of around $200,000 has been raised for social projects benefiting children and low-income families. These numbers don't represent individual actions, but an attitude. For Falcao, success is not an endpoint, but a means. Money should work where it is needed, quietly and effectively, not to be seen but to make a difference. When the stadiums are empty and the noise falls silent, discipline doesn't disappear, it merely changes its form. Radamel Falcao sticks to fixed routines. Training continues to be part of his daily life, in his own gym, on the grass, or in simple environments while traveling. His body is cared for, his diet controlled. The work doesn't end with the game schedule. Performance remains a part of his life, but it no longer dominates it. At the same time, he allows himself closeness. By his wife's side, he appears at public events as naturally as at private meetings with longtime friends. There are no rehearsed poses, no staging. Instead, one sees familiarity, calm, and a relationship that has grown over time. Family is at the center of this balance. Falcao spends conscious moments with his children, accompanies them to games, sits in the stands, and experiences football from a new perspective as a father. Traveling is also part of it. Together, the family explores cities, parks, historical sites, and retreats. The destination is secondary. What matters is being together. Every scene shows movement, shared routines, and a stability that doesn't need to be sought because it's already there. This is how today's Falcao presents himself: disciplined, grounded, and free from the pressure of constantly having to prove something. This is Radamel Falcao's life beyond the stadium. Order instead of noise, family instead of staging, tranquility as a conscious decision. If this side of Falcao surprised you, leave your opinion in the comments, give the video a like, and subscribe to the channel to discover more true stories behind the big names in football.